Welcome to Half 2-4. Today in the episode, absolute chaos at Santiago Bernabeu. Why do Carvajal and Bellingham demonstratively ignore Mbappe, and coach Arbeloa openly threatens the star with exile? PSG is preparing a double raid on Madrid. Valverde and Julian Alvarez for a crazy sum of 250 million euros, coaching dominoes. Xabi Alonso goes to Chelsea, while at Anfield, Arne Slot refuses to resign after another disgrace. And Manchester City closes the question regarding Rodri. About all this and much more we speak right now. PSG this summer does not want to just reinforce itself. PSG wants to dismantle two top players at two different clubs simultaneously. Valverde from Real, Alvarez from Atletico, and both scenarios are already in motion. Luis Enrique clearly knows what he wants. The question is, will they give him this? Let's start with Real and the scandalous fight between Valverde and Tchouaméni, which caused a tectonic split inside the club. The majority of the dressing room players believe that Valverde himself provoked the incident. Some teammates even demand his sale in the summer. Arda Güler appeared in an official photo in a shirt with number 14, that is, with Tchouaméni's number. Accidentally? Unlikely. And here, Bernabeu made its choice. The fans applauded Tchouaméni, not Valverde. The symbolism is clear to everyone. PSG and Manchester United have already made it clear to Valverde's entourage that they are interested if Real opens the door. Valverde himself says that he wants to stay, but the dressing room is against him. The fans too. Real stands before a difficult choice. In parallel, another battle. PSG wants Julian Alvarez from Atletico, and the offer is already concrete. The structure of the deal looks like this: 50 million euros in cash immediately, plus transfers of Gonçalo Ramos and Lee Kan-in to Atletico as partial payment. This is not a direct replacement. These are separate deals that together allow PSG to get Alvarez for a total sum of 140 million euros, since both Parisian players in this exchange are valued at 90 million euros. Why precisely these two? Atletico tried to sign Lee Kan-in back in January. Representatives of the Madrid side personally went to Paris for negotiations. Ramos has also been on Simeone's list for a long time. That is, PSG offers not ballast, but precisely those whom Atletico wanted for years. The final sum of the deal is expected at the level of 140 million euros. This would exceed the record sale in the history of Atletico, Griezmann to Barca for 120 million in 2019. Atletico officially does not want to sell, but if Alvarez himself decides to leave, negotiations with PSG are a better option than strengthening an internal competitor, Barca. PSG plays on a large scale. Valverde is a bet that Real itself will fall apart from the inside and open the doors, and the sum of this transfer can reach over 100 million. Alvarez is a combined deal where the French are trying to trick the system. Instead of 140 million to pay 50 and cover the difference with players whom Atletico wanted anyway, smart. Very smart. If both transfers take place, this will be the most aggressive summer for PSG in recent years. Luis Enrique is building not a team, he is building a project. Real defeated Oviedo 2-0. It would seem, rejoice, take 3 points, and go home. But no, after the final whistle, a real show began. And it had absolutely nothing to do with football. When in the 69th minute Mbappe came on as a substitute, Bernabeu met him with whistling. Not a quiet dissatisfaction, a loud, organized whistling from own fans at own stadium. From Kylian's face, it was clear he did not expect this. The man is in shock. And right here, the most interesting begins. After the match, a video from the pitch appeared, a moment that speaks more than any press conference. Real footballers congratulate each other after the victory. A familiar picture, but look closer. Carvajal approaches the players and completely, demonstratively ignores Mbappe, passes by. Next, Bellingham wants to congratulate the Frenchman, but Mbappe simply turns around and goes the other way. And the cherry on top, when the team is already moving to the dressing room, Bellingham passes right next to Kylian and demonstratively takes off his shirt, ignores him point blank. Mbappe waved his hands a bit in response. And that's all. This is the friendly dressing room of Real in May 2026. But that's not all. Real fans hung a banner at the stadium. Perez is to blame. Security removed it with a scandal. And Perez, in parallel, right at the stadium, engaged in an altercation with the fans. Think about it. The president of the club loses his temper at the fans right during the match. When everything is fine, you don't throw yourself at the fans. This is a bell, a loud one. Next, Mbappe went out to the press, alone, and said what turned the whole Spanish press upside down. I did not play because the coach told me that for him I am the fourth forward. Behind Mastantuono, Vinicius, and Gonzalo, I was ready to start. This is his decision. It must be respected. I am not angry. The fourth forward, the most expensive player of Real, fourth in line, okay? But then he added a phrase that became a meme instantly and angered many in Spain. I don't watch Alvaro Arbeloa's press conferences. I don't even know what he says. I have French TV. I don't have Spanish TV at home. This is no longer a conflict. This is demonstrative contempt. Arbeloa answered immediately and harshly. I don't know what he could understand wrong. I did not say such a thing. I do not have four forwards. But who plays, I decide. I am the coach. And I don't care whether you agree or not, whatever name you have. Don't like it, wait for the next coach. Harshly, directly. But here is the question. Does Arbeloa have moral authority at all to speak like this? A person whose press conference the star of the club refuses to watch even out of elementary politeness? Now the context. Because this is not an isolated incident. It is the finale of a whole series. The fight of Valverde with Tchouaméni at training. The scandalous press conference of Florentino Perez, and now the public altercation of Mbappe with the coach right in the mixed zone of the Bernabeu. And all this against the background of the second consecutive season without a single trophy. The last title, the Intercontinental Cup in December 2024. Perez has already announced early elections for the club president, and Jose Mourinho is already standing on the doorstep. I haven't seen such a level of chaos in a top club for a long time. Real this season is not a football team. It is a reality show with a budget of €1 billion. The coach does not know what his player understood. The player does not know what the coach says and does not want to know. Carvajal ignores the teammate after the victory. Bellingham takes off his shirt right next to Mbappe as a symbolic gesture. The president screams at the fans and announces elections in the middle of the season. And right into this dressing room enters Mourinho, with unmanageable stars, a split collective, and a president who loses his temper right at the stadium. Jose loves challenges, but this is no longer a challenge, it is a fire.
What's the result?
We wish you luck, the special one.
3-0.
Real Madrid wanted Rodri, dreamed of Rodri, considered him as a key signing of the summer. And now Matteo Moretto writes, Manchester City accelerates negotiations. The decision is imminent. And most importantly, Real still has not made a single official step in negotiations with City. Not a single one. That is, while Madrid was thinking City simply closed the question, a bit of context. After winning the Ballon d'Or in 2024, Rodri was the main target of Real. But a cruciate ligament injury postponed any movement. This season, the return form is restored. Madrid's interest grew again. The problem is that City all this time was also not sleeping. Negotiations regarding an extension have already been going on for weeks. And here is where Real lost tactically. City accelerate the process to retain Rodri at least for another year in the Premier League. And Madrid, meanwhile, burns in internal scandals, fights in the dressing room, the fourth coach in 2 years. Not the best moment to lure a star player. Rodri himself is torn between his love for English football and the desire to return home. But City believe he will sign. Real places its bet on him not signing. For now, the score is on Manchester's side. If Rodri extends the contract, this is one of the most important signings for City in recent years. Not a transfer, but precisely retention. Because without him, it's a different club. Stones and Bernardo Silva will leave this summer. Rodri is the only anchor of stability around which Guardiola will build a new team. Real again is left with nothing, and this already looks like a system. Liverpool plays in a draw at home with Chelsea, which before this had a series of 6 defeats in a row, and the fans in the stands simply boo their own team. Boo in native walls. But the most painful and worst news for fans came not even from the football field, but straight from the press conference. The club officially refuses to save the situation. Arne Slot went out to the journalists and, to a direct question about resignation, issued a statement that sounds for fans like an absolute verdict. I have every reason to believe that next season I will be the coach of Liverpool. Plans for next season are already made, negotiations with new players are ongoing, and I am fully involved in them. The management from FSG decided everything Slot remains. And now look at the context, because the figures here simply shock. In the summer of 2025, Liverpool enrooted a record budget for squad reinforcement, almost €500 million, practically a completely new team for title defense. The result? Hope for the championship died back in November. Now Liverpool is 4th, has 11 defeats in the championship, and lags behind Arsenal by a crazy 20 points. The team is experiencing its worst stretch in the last 71 years. And the worst is that the coach, it seems, has completely lost connection with the stands. In the 66th minute of the match against Chelsea, he replaces the only ray of light, 16-year-old Reo Ngomoa, with the completely inert Gakpo. When Anfield exploded with whistling, Slot, instead of analysis, simply started to openly iron eyes and snap at the press. Are you serious? Did you see me screaming from the touchline, "Back, defend your own box"? This was never the plan. But if it looked like that, it means we failed to execute what we wanted. And so every week failed to execute, lacked intensity. While the bosses buy time for Slot, the fans realize with horror the main transfer window of this summer is closing right now. And a specific name is written on it. I understand the accounting logic of the Liverpool bosses. You do not fire a coach who brought you gold a year ago. But football is not dry reports. The team is regressing before our eyes, having a wild resource. And while Slot plans the preseason, the ideal candidate, whom the entire Anfield begged to sign, calmly conducts negotiations with their direct competitor. Real from Madrid fired him. Liverpool demonstratively ignores. But London's Chelsea wants him as if the life of the club depends on it. Guardian, Times, and Daily Mail simultaneously blew up the info space. Xabi Alonso is the undisputed favorite for the position of head coach of Chelsea. Negotiations are at the final stage. The dressing room is happy, and the question of whether he will transfer no longer stands at all. Everyone is waiting for the answer to the question when. Let's look into the subtext, because the situation is pure surrealism. Alonso, after his historic undefeated double with Leverkusen, became the main tactical genius of Europe. Yes, the stage in Madrid left scars on him in January 2026. He was fired after 34 matches due to a split in the dressing room and public conflicts with Mbappe. But as the current situation in Real shows, the matter was far from being only about Xabi. So, Alonso still remains the #1 free agent in the world. And do you know what is most amazing? Liverpool didn't even contact him. Fabrizio Romano clearly confirmed. In the year 2026, between Xabi and the Merseysiders, there was a total 0 of contacts. Not a single call or meeting. Instead, Chelsea acts like a real predator. Since the arrival of the Blue Coat Consortium in the year 2022, the Londoners managed to change already 5 permanent coaches. The last one, Liam Rosenier, lasted only 106 days and was fired because the star players banally sabotaged his work. Before him was Enzo Maresca, who was respected, but the management decided otherwise. Now London needs an ironclad authority. The insider Nicolo Schira adds, the negotiations went maximally positively. The Basque is ready to enter this long-term project, but set a strict condition: complete control over the squad and key sporting decisions. Juan Alonso, give him the wheel and do not interfere with your 5 sporting directors. Chelsea is ready to give him everything. The entire deal should accelerate as much as possible right after Saturday's FA Cup final against Manchester City. And here the words of Jamie Carragher come to mind, from which a cold sweat definitely breaks out on the fans of Liverpool. It worries me that Slot will repeat the path of Van Gaal at United, a brilliant first season, a failed second, the coach is kept, and in October he is still fired due to a crisis. Only Xabi Alonso by that time will already be busy. This looks like an ideal match for Chelsea. Alonso needs a top club that will fully trust him with transfers, and Chelsea needs a dictator whom the players will banally be afraid to disobey. Both strive for a harsh revenge. While Liverpool continues to blindly believe in Arne Slot, Chelsea simply takes the man whom Anfield has been waiting for 2 years. Who won in this duel of strategies, we will find out already in November. But for Merseyside, it seems it will be too late. Officially, CBF confirmed. Carlo Ancelotti signed a new contract extension with the national team of Brazil until 2030. Ancelotti headed Brazil back in May 2025, and in a year of work earned trust. In 10 matches, 5 victories, 2 draws, 3 defeats. 18 goals scored, 8 conceded. Not bad for a start, although there are enough skeptics. The coach himself said briefly, "Brazil and I want more." The extension covers both the World Cup 2026 in North America and the World Cup 2030. That is, this is not just a confirmation, this is a long-term project. A year of work and already a new agreement. Brazil makes it clear, Ancelotti is serious and for a long time. Now it's up to the result. The World Cup 2026 is already around the corner, and precisely there the real test will begin.